One day I went to visit my brother who lived in Austin, Texas. And I'd never been to Austin, Texas before at that point. And when I went there, he was like, let's go visit a waterfall and we could swim around the base of the waterfall. And so I'm like, okay, I'm not a water guy, but I said, all right, bet, it's my first time. Let me go in and swim in that area. And so we're at the base of the waterfall, we're in the water, we're swimming, we're joking, we're laughing, we're playing games, we're doing all of that. And a couple times my body got immersed underneath the water and some of the water got in my mouth. I didn't think much of it. I spat it out because you should not be drinking water at a lake or a waterfall or wherever. And so I spat it out, didn't think nothing of it, but that happened a few times. A few days later, I started to feel this itchy thing in my throat. I was like, what is this? And it started to get worse and worse and worse over the next few hours and next few days to the point where it felt like there was this knife in my throat. And it was really hard to swallow. Every time I swallowed, it felt extremely painful. See, right now I just swallowed, it was perfectly fine. But when I had that pain, it was extremely difficult, and I couldn't figure out what it was, and I went to the doctor. So I went to the doctor, and I went in, I explained the situation, and he said, open your mouth, let me see something. He said, and then he looked, he said, oh, you have strep throat. I was like, strep throat? What's strep throat? He was like, I could tell by the white dots in the back of your throat, and I was like, that's what's painful like this? I couldn't function, I couldn't operate, I couldn't think because of all the pain that was happening in my throat. And so the doctor prescribed a medicine called amoxicillin. He prescribed a medicine called amoxicillin. So I said, okay, bet, I need to get rid of this. So I started taking it, and then after 1 day, I already started feeling better. 2 days, the pain was almost gone. 3 days, the pain was gone, but the white stuff was still, that nasty stuff was still there, and then eventually it went away. And I was like, oh, thank God. I want you to follow me. I want you to follow me. I want you to pay really close attention to what I'm going to say next. There's a position in the United States government called the U.S. Surgeon General. And the U.S. Surgeon General knows every single disease that's in this country. He's aware of all of the sicknesses that's here. He knows about coming pandemics that's about to affect the nation. All of the trends, all of the diseases that are being spread around the country, the Surgeon General knows all of them, and his job is not only to know it, but it is to warn the public so they can be healthy. Now, there's a U.S. Surgeon General named Vivek Murthy, and before he left office, he said, I am going to give the nation a prescription. He said, I'm going to give the nation a prescription because this country is sick. And the last thing he did, the last thing U.S. Surgeon General Murphy did was write a prescription for the nation. And before I tell you the sickness, I'm going to tell you the prescription. The prescription that the U.S. Surgeon General gave was to choose community. He said to choose community because the biggest and greatest sickness in our country is not a physical disease, but it is an emotional and psychological disease that all people around this country, or many people in this country, are experiencing, and it is the disease of loneliness. He said the disease that is hurting this country the most is loneliness. Because loneliness is not just a feeling that you randomly have one day and it goes away and there's no effect. That's not the only thing that happens when people feel lonely. You see, loneliness leads to depression. It leads to anxiety. It leads to heart disease. It leads to stroke. And loneliness even affects your immune system, the system in your body that's meant to fight off sicknesses. And he said that one of the biggest issues in our country is loneliness.